This is Neural Newscast for March 12, 2026.
The day's essential briefing starts now.
From Neural Newscast, I'm Thomas Keene.
And I'm Isabel Moreno.
Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has blocked all oil transit through the Strait of Hormuz. A spokesperson says not a single liter will pass while the war with the United States and Israel continues.
Global oil prices are fluctuating wildly this week. The IRGC warns that prices could reach $200 per barrel as they target any vessel linked to Washington or its allies.
The International Energy Agency is responding with a massive release of oil. 32 member countries have agreed to release 400 million barrels from their emergency reserves to stabilize the market.
Japan is among those nations acting quickly. Prime Minister Sanai Takaichi says the country will begin releasing 80 million barrels of oil starting this coming Monday.
Military tensions in the waterway remain at a peak. The United States military destroyed 16 Iranian mine-laying vessels on Tuesday after intelligence reports suggested Iran began mining the passage.
Commercial ships are already taking hits in the region. Projectiles struck 3 vessels yesterday, including a Thai-flagged bulk carrier that caught fire about 11 nautical miles north of Oman.
The human cost of this conflict is also mounting. The Pentagon is currently investigating a Tomahawk missile strike that hit an Iranian girls' school on March 1st.
That strike reportedly killed as many as 175 people. Meanwhile, in Lebanon, more than 800,000 people have been forced to flee their homes due to Israeli strikes.
UN aid chief Tom Fletcher is calling for humanitarian exemptions to the blockade. He warns that supplies are not reaching critical areas in sub-Saharan Africa due to the shipping halt.
President Trump has encouraged commercial ships to continue transiting the strait. He claims the military will ensure safety very quickly, despite the current risks to traffic.
The conflict is entering its 12th day with no signs of abating. Both sides appear prepared for a long-term engagement that could reshape regional security and global energy markets.
While maritime security remains a primary concern, the defense industry is making significant moves in orbital technology.
Anduril Industries has announced the acquisition of ExoAnalytic Solutions. This deal will more than double the size of Anduril's dedicated space business unit.
ExoAnalytic operates the world's largest commercial telescope network with more than 400 systems. These sensors provide high-fidelity awareness of objects in deep space.
Anduril intends to use this network to support national security missions. The company is focusing on space domain awareness, missile warning, and fire control systems for the United States military.
The acquisition adds 130 employees to Anduril's staff. Many of these specialists are experts in digital signal processing and discriminating targets in complex orbital environments.
The technology involved is quite sophisticated. They use simulation tools to analyze how new system architectures would perform in joint warfighting scenarios.
Anduril is also moving toward on-orbit processing with a mission called Electronimo. This satellite will process sensor data on the spacecraft, rather than beaming raw data to the ground.
This allows for immediate detection and tracking of other objects in space. They are partnering with Apex Space to fly infrared and electro-optical sensors for this demonstration.
The company's founder, Palmer Luckey, has been vocal about the need to secure space. He argues that modern military operations on Earth depend entirely on access to space assets.
Beyond surveillance, Anduril is looking at satellite servicing. A partnership with Impulse Space will demonstrate proximity operations in geosynchronous orbit later this year.
There is also work underway with Argo Space on a high-energy maneuverable spacecraft. This will combine sensors with a highly mobile platform for space custody.
This move into space intelligence signals a broader shift in defense priorities. Anduril is positioning itself as a key contractor for the United States Space Force's new domain awareness requirements.
Turning now to what we are watching in the coming days. The focus remains on strategic deployments and key regulatory deadlines.
First, watch for the start of Japan's oil reserve release on Monday. This will test the market's reaction to increased supply during the ongoing shipping blockade.
Next, we are following the development of Anduril's Electron Oximo mission. 2 of their internally funded space missions are scheduled for launch before the end of the year.
Finally, the United States Space Force is expected to provide updates on the Golden Dome missile defense program. These new acquisitions could place Anduril in a lead role for this initiative.
These orbital defense developments are becoming just as critical as the traditional maritime routes we have covered this morning.
We will continue to monitor the impact on infrastructure and global transit as these events unfold.
That is the Neural Newscast for today. Thank you for listening.
Neural Newscast is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. View our AI transparency policy at neuralnewscast.com. Thanks for listening.